Namaskar. Movies not made in the United States of America are going to attract 100% tariffs. This is the new diktat that is coming down from the White House, and I'm going to take a look at the implications of this. What happens to, for example, OTT like Netflix and Amazon Prime? How are they going to be measured? How feasible is this 100% tariff that can be levied, and why is it doing all this? To understand the why, take a look at my upcoming 6 a.m. presentation on how the United States is trying to trim its $37 trillion budget. That is the main goal there, how they're trying to trim it. And one part of that, one can say, is this tariff mania. Try and tariff the hell out of everything they possibly can. Some they'll win, some they may not win. For example, their dal is not getting cooked with China. China is able to do counter moves. So what is going on? Tariff buster Trump, continuing his self-introduced tradition of imposing tariffs, Trump has now targeted movies. All movies produced outside the United States, including those for the theatrical audiences in the United States or digital distribution, all of them will be tariffed at 100%. This is his Truth Social post. Our movie making business has been stolen by other countries, just like stealing candy from a baby. California, with its weak and incompetent governor, take a dig at Gavin Newsom also, right? Just in case, while we are at it, go take a kick at that fellow also, has been particularly hard hit. Therefore, in order to solve this long time, never-ending problem, I'll be imposing 100% tariff on any and all movies that are made outside of the United States. Thank you for your attention in this matter. Make America great again. I'll tell you one thing. The movie industry in Hollywood is highly unionized. And there are lots of things that they do, like movie writers have their own association, and they pretty much hold the studios to ransom. The studios are public limited corporations. In other words, they need to make a profit off of just about every movie, and they are constantly dealing with what to make that the people will watch, and how to make it as cheaply as possible, and how to distribute it across the world. So you can see that the newer films of Hollywood will have characters, one South Asian character, one Chinese character, one African American character, all this secularism. So that people who are there, who are watching from those countries will say, my guy is also acting. And this has become a prevalent thing for the last 10 years or so. Wokeism has completely captured Hollywood. But the problem is not that. Movies are much cheaper to make than what it takes to be done in Hollywood. Again, same principle, like water flowing from a higher level to a lower level. Where movies can be made cheaply is where people are going to go to. You take Netflix, for example. There are only a few movies that Netflix produces, and much of it is being done by independent distribution companies who, after having made the movie or having made some part of the movie, then they go and sell that concept to big distribution houses. That's what they have become, Netflix and Amazon Prime and so on, because they have the viewership, right? To go and tell them, okay, we have this thing. Are you interested in getting the rights for this? And then Netflix will say, nibble it and say, okay, I'll think about it. So Netflix has already de-risked itself from the production costs. The Crown, if you remember, there were like 5 or 6 seasons, enormous amount of money was spent by Netflix because they wanted to stay accurate to history. A lot of controversies because of that. Be that as it may, it has become very expensive, not just for the studio, but also for Netflix and Amazon Prime to produce their own films. So almost all of them now have gone to this. You take the risk, I'll take it and distribute it on my platform if I like it. And they do some, test audiences to see how the movie will go down. And if that looks good, then they will pick it up. This is what the story has been. So to say that the movie making has been stolen by foreign countries would be completely wrong and ignorant. It is very simple business economics. California and Hollywood are highlighted as particularly hurt by outsourcing and foreign production hubs. The move is part of Trump's broader protectionist agenda, alongside new tariffs on drugs, timber, furniture, and kitchen cabinets. I mean, he's practically throwing the kitchen sink also at the consumer, saying you pay more because all these things need to be done in the United States, without understanding that United States has lost the capacity to make them as cheaply as they are currently being made elsewhere. So what happens is he wants to levy this 100% tariff on digital streaming platforms as well as movies that are being shown in theaters. Now, it also includes films produced by US studios but shot or heavily outsourced abroad. That is, like, for example, UK has been filming something called 𝗣𝗽𝗙𝗿. But I'm asking you a question. Why do people go abroad to shoot? If you're making a period film, you might want to go to Ireland if you want to do a period film about England or Europe, because that's where many of the castles are still sort of functioning, and so on and so forth. And you get that goth effect, like Kingdom of Thrones, for example, or Game of Thrones, I should say. Okay, so is that also being tariffed? Now, all the OTT platforms, Netflix, Prime Video, Disney, Hotstar, ZEE5, Apple, all of them will be coming under it, although the enforcement details are unclear. So what they are trying to say is that if you are a US distributor or importer of foreign films, you will have to pay the tariffs as they come into the country. The cost will ultimately be passed on to consumers through higher ticket prices. I don't know if you've seen a movie in a theater recently. It's outrageous, the amount of cost that they are charging you. Plus the popcorn and the aerated drinks that you get there, even more expensive. It's like $100 minimum price for a family of 4, minimum. And that's how bad it has become. And if this happens, then it's going to mean more expensive films and increased subscription rates. Already Netflix has been bumping up the prices almost every year, and now they want only 2 people from a family watching at the same time, and they also have restricted the area within which these 2 sources have to lie, basically trying to tell us that, well, if your son or daughter within 10 miles of where the primary location is, then maybe we'll let them see it, but otherwise no luck. I think it's 10 miles, I think, for Netflix now. Again, they are trying to force you to have 2 subscriptions instead of 1. The problem with this is there are so many OTT platforms, and not everybody has time to watch everything that is being screened on every OTT platform. So they are only watching a fraction of what these people are producing. Then why this model? It's going to break. I'm telling you, Netflix is going to go bust soon at this rate. Anyway, the other category is US studios filming abroad, like, for example, in Canada, which is a very sought after place, Australia or the United Kingdom. They may also face higher costs if their productions are classified as foreign. Who does this classification? This is complex, and modern filmmaking often spans multiple countries, with filming, editing, and VFX work taking place in different locations. I'll give you an example. If there is an animation film, a lot of the animation is getting done in Mumbai, I heard. So what happens then? Disney is going to be dinged for the next Toy Story episode. Digital distribution, with films delivered electronically via DCPs or streaming uploads, makes enforcing customs duties far more complex than with physical goods. Right? So what are they going to do? Most likely they're just going to say, okay, increase 10% of your for subscription, and Netflix will promptly pass it on. I don't think the people are going to buy it. See, I have, I think, Amazon Prime, because we do a lot of shopping on Amazon, and Netflix because we like Netflix. Netflix seems to give good content. No other OTT have we signed up for. That's it. And even this is too much, because not everybody in the house sees this, has a time to see all the things. Many are good series, but how many people have the time? That is the question. Many Hollywood films outsource visual effects, post-production, or location shoots abroad, making it legally and logistically difficult to determine whether they should be counted as being made in the United States or foreign. Hollywood studios fear disruptions to global production chains and rising costs. Streaming platforms risk passing cost hikes to subscribers, which could also reduce the availability of foreign films in the US libraries. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce warns that tariffs would punish US studios that rely on Canadian facilities and crews, jeopardizing thousands of jobs. Analysts question the feasibility since tariffs usually apply to goods, not services. Enforcement could be inconsistent or arbitrary. And there are also broader impacts. Bollywood, Tollywood, and those that are being made in UK, Canada, Australia, France, Europe, Spain, everywhere movies are being made now, Turkey. And if they all face reduced US market access and declining revenues, many of them may go bust. I'll give you an example, guys. Any Bollywood movie today, expect 50% of its revenues from outside of India. Outside of India. I mean, of that 50%, I'm willing to bet 50% of that is United States. So that's going to take a huge hit. US consumers may face fewer foreign films in theaters or on streaming platforms, along with higher costs for the ones that remain available. The policy may further discourage US studios from pursuing international collaboration, thereby reducing their global competitiveness. What will the other governments do? They could challenge this in World Trade Organization, arguing that it violates free trade rules because this is a service, this is not a product. Well, US will argue that it's indeed a product. The policy will face domestic legal challenges in US courts over whether digital services can be legally subjected to tariffs. The move risks political backlash from Hollywood and from allied countries that benefit from US film production outsourcing, such as Canada. The proposed 100% tariff on foreign films would likely be paid by US distributors, passed on to consumer, and create massive uncertainty in global film productions. So whatever it is that you want to watch, you may want to watch it quickly because no one knows how soon the effect of this is going to show up at your subscription premium or at your theater, at a theater near you. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let me see if you have any questions. Hold on. I don't have that screen in front of me. Okay. Vivek says India should ban Netflix. Well, Netflix is making a lot of movies right now for Indian audience and in Hindi and other languages. Why would you want to reduce that? Just wait. This is not going to fly, in my opinion. Manav San says, what about YouTube, Twitter, X, and internet? Good question. That could be next. I don't know. But again, these are all boneheaded ideas, in my opinion. They are trying to reduce the $37 trillion US debt by trying to add more and more to tariffs, saying that, look, this makes a dent in the overall debt, and that's how we are going to pay down the debt of United States. But just take a look at the episode that's going to come out at 6 a.m. IST. You will understand how this math is being done, at least in the minds of many of the people in the Trump administration. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.